People used to tell me that losing your sight makes your other senses sharper. I never really believed it until the day my brother, Lucas, disappeared. Lucas was more than just a brother to me. He was my eyes, my protector, and my best friend. We were orphans, raised in the harsh foster care system of Chicago, and we only had each other. While I struggled with the darkness that took my vision at age 12, Lucas became obsessed with light. Not just physical light, but the light of knowledge, of code, of the future. By the time he was 30, Lucas was a billionaire genius. He had founded Sentient Spaces, a company that built the most advanced smart homes in the world. But his masterpiece wasn't for a client. It was for me. He built a house in the secluded hills of Oregon, a place he called the Haven. It wasn't just a house, it was alive. The walls had haptic sensors that vibrated gently to guide me. The air quality adjusted to my breathing. And the central AI, which he named Aria, could read my mood simply by the tone of my voice. "I want you to be safe, Arthur," he told me the day he handed me the keys. "Even when I'm not here, this house will always watch over you." I didn't know those words would become a prophecy. On a rainy Tuesday in October, the police knocked on the door of the Haven. Or rather, Aria announced them. "Arthur," the AI's soft voice said, "Detectives Miller and Vance are at the gate. Heart rates indicate stress." My stomach dropped. I let them in. They told me that Lucas's private helicopter had crashed into the Pacific Ocean. No bodies were recovered, but debris was found. They called it a tragic mechanical failure due to the storm. My world didn't just go dark, it shattered. I sat in the middle of the living room floor, feeling the heated tiles beneath me, and screamed until my throat bled. Aria didn't say a word, but the lights in the room dimmed to a soft, comforting glow, and the temperature rose 2 degrees, like a warm blanket wrapping around me. The house was grieving with me. 2 weeks later, the vultures started circling. The biggest vulture of them all was Julian Thorne. Julian was Lucas's silent partner, a man who dealt in finance and cold calculations. I had met him only a few times. He always smelled of peppermint and expensive leather, a scent that made me nauseous. He came to the Haven under the guise of paying his respects. "Arthur, I am devastated," Julian said, sitting on my sofa. I could hear the leather creak as he shifted comfortably. "But we have to be practical. Sentient Spaces is in chaos without Lucas. The board is panicking. I need access to Lucas's private servers to stabilize the stock. And, well, there is the matter of this house." "What about the house?" I asked, my grip tightening on my cane. "It's a prototype worth $50 million, Julian said, his voice dropping an octave. "It's too big for a blind man to manage alone. I've prepared paperwork to move you into a wonderful assisted living facility in the city. I'll buy the Haven from the estate. It's what Lucas would have wanted." "Lucas wanted me here," I said firmly. "Get out." Julian left, but the air in the room felt heavy, charged with a threat he hadn't spoken aloud. That night, the Haven started acting strange. Usually, Aria was perfect. But at 3 a.m., the sound system blasted heavy metal music for 3 seconds before cutting off. The next day, the heating in my bedroom turned off completely, freezing me. Then, the voice guidance system started giving me wrong directions, trying to steer me toward the stairs when I was nowhere near them. I thought the system was malfunctioning without Lucas to maintain it. But then I realized something terrifying. The glitches weren't random. They were a code. Lucas and I used to play a game when we were kids. He would tap on my arm in Morse code. It was our secret language. One evening, as the haptic floors vibrated under my bare feet, I felt a rhythm. Short, short, long. Short, long, short, short. LAR. I froze. Aria? I whispered. Is that you? System diagnostic normal, Aria replied, but her voice sounded different. Strained. The vibrations came again. NOTACCADNT. My heart hammered against my ribs. Not accident. Lucas was trying to talk to me from beyond the grave, using the house he built. I needed help, but I didn't know who to trust. If Julian had killed Lucas, he probably had the police in his pocket. I called the only person Lucas had ever truly respected outside of our family, an old coding mentor named Dr. Thorne. No relation to Julian. Dr. was a recluse, a paranoid genius who lived off the grid. When I explained the Morse code to Dr. over an encrypted line, he didn't call me crazy. He came to the house the next morning. Arthur, he said, his voice raspy from years of smoking. This code isn't a ghost. It's a dead man's switch. Lucas programmed the house to go into a specific mode if his heart monitor, which he wore on his watch, stopped beating under suspicious circumstances. Dr. hooked his laptop into the main mainframe in the basement. Jesus, he whispered. Arthur, Lucas didn't die in a helicopter crash. What? I gasped. The helicopter crash was staged. The telemetry data from his watch shows his heart stopped beating 2 hours before the flight took off. He was killed on the ground. And the location data. Arthur, he was killed at Julian's penthouse. We had the evidence, but we were trapped. Before we could upload the data to the cloud, the power in the haven cut out. The backup generators didn't kick in. He knows, Dr. said, slamming his laptop shut. Julian has a backdoor into the system. He shut us down. Then came the sound of breaking glass. The front door. Arthur, run! Dr. shouted. I heard heavy boots on the hardwood floor. Not just one pair. 3. Julian had brought a cleanup crew. Where is he? Julian's voice echoed in the dark foyer. Find the blind man. Make it look like a fall down the stairs. Burn the house after. I was blind, in the dark, with 3 killers hunting me. But they made a fatal mistake. They forgot who this house belonged to. And they forgot that in the dark, I was the master. I didn't run. I moved to the wall panel near the kitchen. Even without power, the mechanical emergency overrides worked. I felt for the lever Lucas had showed me once, a joke, he said. Zombie apocalypse mode. I pulled it. The haven didn't need electricity to be dangerous. The magnetic locks on the doors slammed shut, sealing us all inside. The pressurized fire suppression system engaged, but instead of water, it filled the hallways with a thick, disorienting fog designed to choke fires. I heard coughing. I can't see a thing, one of the men yelled. He's blind, you idiots, He has the advantage." Julian screamed. I moved silently through the house I knew by heart. I counted my steps. 10 paces to the hallway. Left turn. I heard a man breathing heavily to my right. I grabbed a heavy vase from the console table and swung it with all my might. It connected with a sickening crunch. He went down. "Over there!" Julian shouted. I scrambled toward the server room where Dr. Eris was hiding. "Dr. Eris, the manual reboot," I whispered. "I need 30 seconds, he hissed. I stood at the door of the server room, my cane raised like a sword. I could smell Julian's peppermint scent getting closer. "It's over, Arthur," Julian sneered from the darkness. "You're a helpless little boy. Give me the drive, and I'll make it quick." "I am not helpless," I said, my voice shaking but loud. "And I am not alone." Dr. Eris hit the enter key. The power slammed back on. But not just the lights. The security system. "Intruder alert," Aria's voice boomed at 120 decibels, ear-splittingly loud. "Lethal force authorized." The automated defense shutters on the windows slammed down with the force of guillotines. High-frequency sonic emitters, designed to deter pests but dialed up to human levels, screeched through the living room. Julian and his remaining thug dropped to their knees, clutching their ears, screaming in agony. The sound was specifically calibrated to a frequency that incapacitated anyone not wearing the protective earplugs Lucas had insisted I keep in the panic room drawer. "Aria, call the FBI," I commanded. "FBI contacted. Streaming live video and audio evidence to the federal cloud," Aria replied smoothly. Julian tried to crawl toward me, a gun in his hand. "You bastard. Aria, activate localized suppression in Sector 4, I said coldly. A blast of compressed air from the floor vents, meant for rapid cooling, hit Julian with the force of a hurricane, pinning him against the wall until the authorities arrived. The trial was the most watched event in tech history. Julian's lawyers tried to claim the video evidence was a deepfake generated by the AI. They tried to say I was mentally unstable, that Dr. Eris had manipulated the code. But they couldn't explain the watch data. They couldn't explain the blood found in Julian's penthouse, which he had tried to scrub away with industrial bleach. And they certainly couldn't explain the audio recording Aria had recovered from Julian's own phone when he connected to my Wi-Fi. He had recorded the murder. He was a narcissist who liked to keep trophies. Julian was sentenced to life in prison without parole. The other men gave up the pilot who had parachuted out of the empty helicopter, confirming the crash was staged. I didn't sell the Haven. I couldn't. It was the last piece of Lucas I had. Instead, I expanded it. Using the billions Lucas left me, I turned Sentient Spaces into a foundation. We didn't build toys for the rich anymore. We started building smart homes for the disabled, the elderly, and the vulnerable. Houses that could detect falls, houses that could guide the blind, houses that could protect victims of domestic violence with automated locks and silent alarms. Every time I walk through my hallway, I feel the gentle vibration of the floorboards. It's not a code anymore. It's just a heartbeat. Yesterday, I was standing on the balcony, feeling the wind on my face. A young boy, recently blinded in a car accident, was visiting to test our new guidance system. He was scared, holding onto the wall for dear life. "It's okay," I told him, placing my hand on his. "Trust the house. It knows you're here." "Who built this?" he asked softly. I smiled, tears stinging my eyes behind my dark glasses. "My brother," I said. "He wanted to make sure that even in the dark, we would never truly be alone." The wind picked up, rustling the trees, and for a second, I swore I could smell not peppermint, or fear, but the faint, clean scent of ozone and solder, the smell of Lucas working late into the night. He was gone. But the light he built for me? That would never go out.